Hong Kong protesters, how is it going on the front lines? Though things appear to have quieted down, it only looks that way because of the virus. The movement is still very much alive. Things like this have been circulating around, free educative material that protesters can read, so that once we can safely, in terms of virus, go back out, then we have a more planned strategy that will help us push forward. Thank you for not forgetting about us. Edit. Thanks for the silver, but I'd urge others to donate to the 612 fund, which helps protesters who have been arrested get a job, pay for legal counsel, medical treatment, etc. Here's a donate link. Edit 2. Silver is not free, sorry. First rule of being frontline protester, you never identify yourself a frontline protester, even on internet. Edit. This is a serious advice for activists around the world, not just a reference to Fight Club. Please don't underestimate how far a govt would go to keep their power, even if you live in a democratic country. Edit 2. And I don't mean Op is asking a bad question. I know this is a genuine question about the current situation of HK. I just want to remind those who have been on the front line not to expose themselves while explaining the situation. Edit 3. No, this comment doesn't say or imply I'm a frontline protester __. No comments actually mentioning the existence of Hong Kong or the protests an hour later. Congratulations Op, you've made the list. Expect the Chinese embassy to be reaching out very soon. One thing I don't think it is mentioned enough is that Hong Kong people are building and supporting a yellow economy circle. People of Hong Kong have created many lists that include the shops that supports the movements, and consumers are choosing to purchase in these shops/restaurants. In this economic downturn, these actions will serve as a lifeboat to all sinking ships. We realize this is going to take long, so we are switching the battlefield to everything we do in our daily life. r/Hong Kong. Should tagged it as serious. This post has been censored by the Chinese government. This question is a little early for Hong Kong. It is currently 8 AM over there. Also from Hong Kong, but not really frontline. First, we really appreciate you caring enough to ask. We always strive to get as much international attention as possible. There hasn't been much large-scale protests because of the virus. Most people are staying at home. However, police brutality hasn't stopped. On March 8th, police went to many people's homes and arrested them, possibly related to the Poliu siege. Some people reported hearing screams of "help me" that night. The same night, there was a memorial held for Chow Tzedlok, and police again treated participants with unnecessary violence and sprayed pepper spray at reporters. Similar things happened on March 21st, when people gathered to protest what happened on July 21st last year. Chinese mainland are studying in and standing with Hong Kong here. I have never really been a frontline protester, but I have witnessed what frontline is like quite a few times. Especially when the police stormed our campus, CUHK, and fired over 2,000 tear gas bombs to the frontline protesters resisting police violence with petrol bombs and bricks. Feel free to ask if you have any questions. Have a lot of stories to share with if you are interested. I live in Hong Kong, but my parents doesn't let me go to the front line, but I still have a fire in my heart. I just wanna say, as a normal citizen in another country, I support your cause and know the majority of the world stands with you, even if we can't get our representatives to stand up with us. Stay safe and stay smart. Godspeed, rebels. The Alliance is standing by. I had a classmate who was on the front lines, and over the weeks, his body has shown numerous injuries, many of which broken bones. Although I'm not a frontliner, I still support the movement against tyranny. Even if China takes over, we all know that they can't change our thoughts. Reading people's comments hating the movement surprises me till I check their account and are subscribed to communist subreddits. Check out r/Hong Kong to stay up to date. I have no clue. In semi-relevant news, Sisyphus has once again failed to push his rock all the way up the hill. Bad cops nowadays like kidnapping the citizens by covering their mouths, not allowing them to shout their names, so that the lawyers can go and see them. The arrested are also beaten up badly. Protests are on pause because of coronavirus. We suspect the government is keeping important information and actual numbers from us. Pro-establishment attempts to push a bill that endangers freedom of speech and press. Police brutality continues. We do not rest until our rightful liberties are returned. Not a frontliner, but the anti-government movement is still going on, just not in the previous ways of marches and direct battles with police. Instead, to avoid the spread of the COVID-19, we hop onto social media to spread the message and protest against the government that way. Why did the riot police show up early to the protest? To beat the crowd. Frontliner here. Honestly, we aren't as bad as what the media makes us to be. We are pretty gentle and calm. But it's the police that launch violent assaults and gas grenades into high residential areas, and then we retaliate. We are fighting for our freedom, while that pig Carrie Lam was still the chief executive. She abused her power by suddenly changing laws because of a minor incident. That's bullshit. She's biased towards China and is being exploited by China to change Hong Kong. But we won't allow that. I love Hong Kong as it is now, and if we don't protect its legacy and memories, Hong Kong will fall, and the people won't have a future here. So stand with Hong Kong. Fight for freedom. Liberate Hong Kong. Revolution of our times. Edit. Grammar. Edit 2. I also wanted to add, I live in Yuen Long, and it was heartbreaking to see my people being bribed by the police to fight us. I've witnessed the bribing firsthand. I saw it happen at Yoho Mall and underneath the MTR station. I'll never forgive the police. Unfortunately, the pandemic means that large gatherings of protesters are dangerous. Notka. Thanks for asking this question. I was wondering about them as well. As a Hong Konger, I'm glad to hear that you keep follow up with us. And the situation in Hong Kong is like a temporary pause for the protest due to the virus. But when it comes some important date like every month 8th, Alex Chow passed away. 21st day, Yuen Long attack, and 22nd, Christy Chan passed away. Many Hong Kongers still come out and gather to show that we still not give up. Man, protests are important, but at time when a pandemic is the main focus, we should focus on stay healthy. RN. Protests can still happen if you are alive when the pandemic is over. Hong Kong here. I've never been on the front lines because I only protest during daytime, and the daytime protests are usually more peaceful. On January 1st, the sun set. Before I went back home, every daytime protester were leaving and all the nighttime frontline protesters were rushing out. Some people started to form a human chain, where they pass down materials from the back to the front line, materials like water bottles, first aid kits, broken fences, etc. I also saw groups of people beginning to dig the bricks out of the ground and collect them. A man shouted that there were 3 minutes left before the nighttime protests begin, and that the police had arrived. At that point me and my friends left immediately. Not today, CIA. That was my exact thought last night. Seems kind of odd to me how corona overshadow every other important subject in the globe. You guys are incredibly brave. It's stories like this that make me want to defend gun rights for my country's general public. Though I think it's wise to have mandatory gun safety laws and careful background checks etc. In the end it really can become the government vs the people, and I just can't imagine winning that fight without actual firearms in the hands of the people. I pray you guys can stand your ground and overcome the heavy hands of the CCP. Down with tyrants. Hong Konger here. Not a protester though. Protests are still going on, though on a drastically reduced scale and almost non-existent media coverage. Hope they get their 5 demands and nothing less. Ah yes, more circle jerk please. I'm sure posting this will stop the CCP. Hong Kong protesters aren't on the front lines bro, doctors are. Vertical bar, this is such a Reddit question. To ask some shit like Hong Kong protesters, why are you so awesome? As report from media of HK, CCP was deliberately making over arrests of protesters, while the rest of the world is busy dealing with the epidemic outbreak itself. Yes, same here in India. The Anti-Citizenship Amendment Act and NRC protests have completely died down, and the focus is on stopping the virus from spreading. Police brutality is very serious. Also, the human right of HK people is keeping tightening more and more. Riot police upgrade their weapons and increase the salary by government during the economic downturn. I'm a frontline fighter. Just saying that to throw the government off. I was in Hong Kong during August 2019 when the protests were going on, and I was one of the victims of the international airport getting shut down. Was stranded there for about 2 days, and during this time I interacted with few of the protesters at the airport. They were students who were finishing assignments, practicing music and helping each other. Was really happy seeing a peaceful protest, but tables turned as soon as China interfered and made things worse. Hope you guys stay safe and continue to believe. The newest biggest thing here is the Article 23 that the pro-Beijing camp is trying very hard to push. They are seen giving away supplies in order to get clueless elders sign a petition. Students such as me haven't gone to school since January, and the government has banned bars from selling alcohol, but will not close the borders, since that's what the protesters want. Fuck tyranny, fuck communism.